So this right here, um, if the administration of President Weah see this as a no, significant trip, then they gotta think twice. Liberia can also benefit from this if the government in place can leverage their opportunity before them instead of paying lobbyists, instead of paying other folks, and of all the 5 years they are spending in office, they have not had access to the Biden administration like they will have now with this delegation. And many of whom in this delegation are direct, surrogates of President Biden. So this is a perfect opportunity for Liberia. But again, it depends the player how they will handle their circumstances. So that's what I said. It's a blessing and a curse.
Mr. Gaye, I like you when you say it's a blessing and a curse, and so it's kind of difficult to pinpoint whether it is actually a blessing and also whether it's actually a curse. But what we saw is that the president was giving, I think, gifts. Not one. I think I saw two being given to him by the Black Caucus. And I also heard that Mr. Nathaniel Fallon McGee, Minister of Presidential Affairs, also received a gift from the delegation.
Yes.
And we also have been hearing reports of a imminent sanction, targeted sanctions on some officials of government. Yes. It is obvious that if anybody is to be placed on any sanction list for that matter, for the vices we all cried about, it's most likely to be other President Weah, McGill, and many others, but these are the very people who are being given gifts by these senior U.S. government officials. Does it mean that such sanction might not come? Does it mean that these officials are appreciative? They are satisfied with what McGill, President Weah, all the CDC government, I say, are they satisfied with the work they're doing so far?
No, Mr. Sieh, let us not be carried away with what was presented. What was presented, first of all, let's remember this month, February, is a Black History Month, having to be also the official launch of the bicentennial in Liberia. Liberia in existence for 200 years. And for a guest to come to your home, and you are celebrating something, and they themselves also recognize that February is a Black History Month, and Liberia being the first African country to gain her independence, and the tie with Liberia and America with the African American who left from here, went to Liberia, today we call the Congo Liberian. I mean, this is a recognition that, hey, listen, we are all brothers. But again, Uncle Sam, you don't miss business with pleasure when it comes to Uncle Sam. You and I live in this country. We have seen top government officials at the high, even the former president of the United States, President Donald J. Trump, is going through what we'll consider a rigorous investigative process right now. He's not having a kumbaya movement in America. Wasn't this guy served the Oval Office of the United States? Wasn't the guy had the highest office in this country for 4 years? Well, yes. And he had all the presidential immunity. Mind you, before everything gets said and done, he may not even have those privileges that he have again. So do not be carried away with Uncle Sam. When we say Uncle Sam, we are referring to the U.S. government. Do not be carried away with a presentation. A present is just a present. It's a courteous present. That does not in any way, shape, or form endorse the governorship of the CDC-led government in Liberia.
Thank you so very much. Let me give my own take on this whole U.S. delegation, and then also the U.S. government through the President Joe Biden sending a representative to Liberia for the bicentennial and giving a speech. And I will be so blunt. Look, the U.S. government needs to stop this joke, this child play when it comes to Liberia. The U.S. government is not serious about helping Liberia. I also must hasten to say, yes, Liberia itself has not been serious about taking care of its own responsibility. I recognize that. But that does not give the U.S. government to play toy with Liberia. Let me start with the statement that was delivered by the representative said by Joe Biden. All she said in that statement were merely two things: that we Liberians are responsible for the fight against corruption, and lecturing us how corruption undermines everything about Liberia, development in healthcare, education, and all that. Don't we know that? Don't we say that all the time? Is that why Joe Biden will have to send somebody to Liberia, use taxpayers' money to test Liberians why we already know, why we even communicate more effectively than the president of the United States? Is that why he sent somebody? Is that the reason? And another thing they said is that the U.S. government has been helping Liberia, narrating how they're sponsoring spoon feeding program, and that those are peanuts. That is shameful on the part of the United States. The U.S. government spends up to over $50 billion in Israel. Israel is using America like an ATM, and they go to Liberia. They spend peanuts that make no impact in the life of Liberians, despite our relationship with them. And we are talking about a bicentennial, marking the return of free men from the United States for almost marking 200 years of free men and women from the United States. And they went over there to just tell us how to stop corruption. That is shameful. That is an empty statement. America should be ashamed of itself for trying to play toy with Liberia. Maybe they should just walk away from Liberia and worry about their own problem. Now, let me come to the Congressional Black Caucus. They too should be ashamed of themselves that they will use taxpayers' money to go to Liberia to issue insignificant gifts to the president of Liberia and Nathaniel Maguire in the name of symbolism, in the name of recognizing Liberia bicentennial, in the name of Black solidarity, celebrating what's it called, the Black History Month. That is preposterous. Those people are not serious. I wish if these Congressional Black Caucus people are serious, let them look at the crisis in Chicago, where Blacks are being killed every day. Let them do something about it. If these people are serious to do anything in Liberia or any African country for that matter, let them secure billions, about 50 to 60 billions for Black African countries in Liberia to carry investment so that young people can get employed, instead of going with a delegation to give to President Weah and McGill and lecturing about bicentennial and all that nonsense. These people need to get serious. We don't need them in Liberia. If it is to go there and give to leaders who are enjoying the country, if it is for them to go there and just get empty speeches and just walk away, if it is for them to go there and get assessment of what is going on, I can give them true assessment and they can add upon it, and should stop wasting taxpayers' money to go to Liberia and go lecture us about something we already know. That is shameful. That is waste of money. They are not serious to help any African country. They can't even help their own brothers and sisters here in the United States. They want to go to Liberia. Well, I don't blame them. I blame our leaders. They are boyless. They are visionless. They don't amount to anything meaningful when it comes to leadership in our country. These people should just leave Liberia alone and come back to America and focus on the crimes that are going on in Chicago, where Blacks are being killed every day. All right? What kind of foolishness is this? How come do we deserve this, first of all? What kind of foolishness is this? These people don't have anything to offer Liberia, and let us just leave us alone. We will survive. If we will die in poverty, let us die in poverty. But they child play and toying with Liberia is unacceptable, and I rebuke the president of America and all the Black caucus. They don't worth nothing to Liberia. I don't want to see them in Liberia. Let them just go away. That will bring us to the breaking news here, and I'm pissed here. What a nonsense is this? I wish our leaders would see this and get angry. But let's talk about the breaking news here, Anthony. George Weah has pardoned Brownie Samukai. Really? President Weah pardoned former Defense Minister Samukai and others. He has ordered also Finance Minister Samuel Tuer to pay in full the money in question for which Samukai was found guilty. What do you make of this news? Is this a political move But my understanding from what I've read is this is a partial pardon. You pardon the man and you said the finance minister should pay the money in full, but at the same time, they should make a stipulation for the man to pay the money. What kind of nonsense is this? Let me get your tape before I come in.
No, Mr. Sieh, one of my favorite reggae superstar is Lucky Dube, and Lucky Dube song talks about making much freedom, you know, out of the album called Exile. Look, this is another showmanship, you know, about the president to claim that he grant executive clemency to an individual and but have his hand tied. First of all, this case shouldn't have been in the first place. Why am I saying this? It's not because Mr. Brendan Samukai ran on the CPP ticket. It is all because the same Mr. Brendan Samukai, when then President Weah was the president-elect, he met with then President Sieh on the very issue. That was the very first thing that was brought to then President-elect Weah. And upon assuming power, President Weah instituted a committee quickly, and that committee went to work. They even made their report 1 week prior to the due date. They were very swift, and they came out with their findings. What did President Weah do with their findings? It is yet to be determined, right? Fast forward, Mr. Samukai himself had a press conference in which I will paraphrase some of the things he said in that very press conference from himself from 2017, that yes, indeed, an investigation was conducted and it had been deemed that yes, the money was misappropriated and there was a deal that had been reached between the president-elect, President Weah, and President Sieh at the time, that the money will be funded into the following budget, the recast budget that was proposed at the time. And that was the agreement that they reached. Both President-elect George Manneh Weah and President Sieh at the time in 2017, before he even took the oath of office. That was the agreement that President Weah made with Madame Sieh.
That was 2018. That was 2018.
I'm sorry, 2018. So I'm shocked that today we're hearing about executive clemency. Well, the opportunity is there for him to do whatever you want to do and want to be part of history, like Liberia is known for making some history that does not benefit its people. That's one of those history here today. You grant a clemency to a person, but you give them a condition. I thought granting clemency means the person is free of all the charges. That's what I thought clemency is. I may be wrong, but when I look up, executive clemency, all the perks that come with it, that's it. That person is free of all the charges that were levied against them. They will not go to jail. They don't serve no prison term, and they walk free because the president pardoned them. Well, this case is not the case. The president gave me a conditional pardon, and I've not heard of any executive clemency that come with condition. Maybe the lawyer will come on the show who are expert in the area to better educate us. And I don't want to, speak on something that I really don't have a clear, information on. But I know of all the clemency I've read about and I've seen so far, whether here in the United States or around Africa, clemency means you are free completely. President Trump grant executive clemency to Michael Flynn, grant executive clemency to so many other people here, and they walk free. There was no condition attached to it. So why is this president giving you Mr. Samukai? All of this thing, to sum it up, is all political. Why? They want low-fat content. They want low-fat content so desperately. Now the man can uphold his seat. He won the seat. He had this condition, and next certify him to run on the seat. Had this man gone on the CDC ticket, we wouldn't have this problem we're having today. But because he is an opposition, and clearly CDC have shown to Liberia and the world that yes, indeed, they want that seat in local county. So they have deprived the people of their total representation for almost a year now plus. And today, yeah, we talking about another bogus, executive clemency. Making us freedom, lucky to be called that. So I mean, this in itself is a complete disgrace to our nation. If you want to do something, do it clearly. In law, they say what is not done properly is not done at all. And I guess think President Weah need to do this thing better.
Anthony, thank you so very much. I think you were so succinct and accurate on the history of this whole Brandon Samukai case. President Weah, when he was president-elect, met with then former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. They hammered a deal. They agreed that the government of Liberia, on President Weah's watch, was going to pay this money in food. That was the agreement. Fast forward, there was a twist. Samukai was in court, and Samukai will go and run after the back and forth. He will get elected, and the case will continue in court. And because the CDC felt that Samukai, being an opposition guy, they had an opportunity to use this case to prosecute him politically. So they persecuted him. And despite his victory being selected, he's selected but voted by the people of Lofa, he's been denied the opportunity to take his seat. But it is important for us to also point out, if you look at the court's records, the court record also say that some of the money were used personally by Bernie Samukai, which amount to corruption. So President Weah now, fast forward, has pardoned this man. There are many questions that I have. Now, how can you pardon a man, but then and at the same time you're ordering Finance Minister Samuel to pay the money in full, and then according to what we are hearing, the man will still pay the money? So these are two times now President Weah making a promise that he will pay the money, but then maintaining that the man will pay the money. What kind of foolishness is that? I don't understand it. Yes, focus on Liberia in conversation with lawyers for us to bring them here, for them to really dive into this, for us to get all the legal understanding other than us. We are not lawyers using our opinion. So look, you are right. This is political. It is political and it is political. You cannot pardon. So let's look at the pardon. Now that the man has been pardoned, that means he is free of all of the charges. That means he is no longer a felon. Now, the fact that you have pardoned this man and this man was elected, the reason he could not have been, he has not been certificated by the NEC, the reason he has not taken seat as a senator is because of the case. The pardon remove this
everything, all the barriers.
So that should mean that Bernie Samukai should be taking a seat. My question to the president and the CDC government is that this man is a free man now with no crime, with no legal hurdle on his head. Will he take his seat? While we are talking about that, the Senate declares the seat vacant.
Vacant.
Now, constitutionally speaking, the man was not certificated as a senator. He was not inducted into office as a senator. What is not done legally is not done at all.
It's not done at all.
Though he was elected, but he was not certificated. He did not take seat as a senator. The process of he becoming senator was still in process. It could not get completed because he was in a court. So he did not legally become a senator. So the Senate cannot declare his seat open and announce or inform the NEC of a vacancy. The Senate can only announce a vacancy when a senator, having taken seat or office, is dead or either become incapacitated.
Correct.
And that is when the Senate can be constitutionally right to inform NEC. In fact, NEC has not completed the entire process of making a man a senator. So it should be the NEC that should be telling anybody about a vacancy and not the Senate. So you are right. This is political. For the Senate to be doing so, and knowing that the leadership of the Senate is CDC, this is CDC trying to maybe produce a senator in Lofa County. So my question is, will Bernie Samukai, now that he is a free man and is free of all felony, will he take seat? He could not take seat because of this. And let us also point out this part is significant. Because of this seat, Bernie Samukai supporters went at the National Election Commission and burned down government properties. What happened to that? Free?
That's another case that's supposed to be picked up.
This is the man President Weah has pardoned the men for whom government vehicles were set ablaze. No accountability whatsoever because of political reasons. I understand this is political. But Bernie Samukai took some of the money that he used for his personal purposes. He can't claim that he's not guilty of anything. But hey, this is Liberia, and it is the sad story of our politics. And CDC is doing all this just to appease the people of Lofa. Because of this seed, we have a country devil that was blocking Liberian free movement.
I tell you what, man.
And coming from Lofa. Because of this seed. And CDC now, election coming, next year's election. The CDC wants to win Lofa or get substantial amount of vote from Lofa. They don't want to be on the bad side of the people of Lofa. This is a nasty and ugly political move. It is not right. We are not putting justice where justice belongs. And further, President Weah grant clemency also to 500 inmates, Anthony. And he has the Ministry of Justice. And that the press got the statement was read by Nathaniel Mangill that the inmates, those who committed misdemeanor, about 500 of them should be free. He excluded only rapists and people who carry on armed robbery. Those are the people who are not included in this pardon of 500 persons. So here is the thing. It is the president, right? Constitutionally speaking, I believe it's Article 59 that the president can grant pardon, right? But how much pardon is being given, to ordinary people? Look at these are people that committed crime. Why they can't serve their time? Let me give you your take on it so we can go to our main topic quickly.
Mr. Sieh, it is unfortunate for our nation. And if you're a Liberian in Liberia and across the globe, you should be outraged as to what is transpiring in the country. First of all, the Liberian security apparatus, the whole segment is fragile. We saw 3 individuals who were burned alive, allegedly because they said they stole cell phone or stole something, whatever they stole. Those people were burned alive and nothing has happened. We have not heard any arrest, any perpetrator or people of interest. And I did not see any outrage on Facebook. We saw people parading, having press conference when, Mr. Abba Toba and his partner, released a book that had a graphic description of the president's wife, and people took to the streets. Within that same time, a 13-year-old girl was raped and killed, and we didn't see people getting into the street. And so, this is sad for our nation. Jungle justice is happening on a daily basis in Liberia. And we today, individuals who committed crime, who in Liberia that people can do things and go away free. And for some other reason, those folks were apprehended and put behind bars. Whatever the cases were, I'm not privy to the dockets. But the fact that there are 500 of them, the number itself, it is disturbing. And I don't think 500 individuals were just put behind bars all because people didn't like them. I believe strongly that they did something, because we just talked about people doing things, and working with impunity in Liberia. If 500 individuals were apprehended and deemed, guilty by the system and put them behind bars, they should serve their term. But to give clemency to 500, now some will argue and say, because they're not Bernie Samukai, because they're not, high-profile individual. Well, I just told you about the clemency they gave Mr. Samukai. It's a bogus clemency. It's a political clemency. Even this case in itself, it's a political case. Because President Weah don't want to be seen as a person who have a political president, because he always claimed that, we don't have political president. So for this reason, he may justify and say, listen, I don't have political prisoner. Brennan Sanders supposed to be in jail. I got Samukai, I'm sorry, supposed to be in jail, and he's not in jail today. But look, the other day we heard 80,000 Zogos in the streets, and we don't even have 10,000 men and women in uniform in Liberia. That should scare any Liberian. People are living in our country by the mercy of God. And sometimes I hear people want to claim the peace in Liberia. Just give glory to God for all to be able to wake up one day and another day and another day in Liberia. Because you cannot have people who are at a disadvantage and desperate, can do anything to survive, outnumber the men and women that are in uniform. To put salt to the injury, you're releasing 500 more criminals into the streets without any sort of, vocational training program or somewhere for them to be, reintroduced into society by de-traumatizing them through the process and having them earn their way back into society. You're just releasing them. They have no jobs, obviously. They will even do worse than they did before going to jail. No community service program available for them. No vocational training for them. It's just like the same way President Weah, and this is part of my next segment, that he disarmed people and they would never give you an opportunity to have any training. Some of whom today that were disarmed are part of that group called Zogo today. And that's the sad part of our nation. Look, I'm afraid. And I can tell you for a fact, I hope that our nation will come to its senses. You don't have to be of the same political party that I am. The fact that you are Liberian, you ought to be concerned. You ought to be, outraged as to the president giving 500 individuals. All of these things is about politics. Oh, you can just pardon people because you want to pardon them. What are the programs that you putting them through to transition them? We all know Mr. Samukai, who is a fine and well-trained West Point grad and have an outstanding performance at the AFL before the whole political case came about. He himself admitted that, yes, the money was used on the soldiers that were deployed to Mali during those days. And so his circumstances is by far different from individual who the system deemed criminal, put behind bar. And then for them to be released, Mr. Sieh, God knows what can happen. I'm very disturbed by that news, and I think our country needs help.
Thank you so very much, folks. We will take a short break, and when we come back, we will be going into our main topic. Cummings is not a survivalist, but a leader, according to Anthony Gaye. Weah penned a piece in which he charges or describes Mr. Cummings as a political survivalist and not a leader. Mr. Anthony Gaye is here to rebut that, to set the record straight, and to tell us why he thinks Mr. Cummings is a leader and not somebody sacrificing others for a political survivor. We will take a short break. When we come back, that is our main topic for today. Don't go anywhere. We are just getting started. Stay tuned, folks.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Ansony Sieh. Thanks for staying with us here. We will now go into our main topic for today. Then that topic again is Cummings is not a survivalist, but is a leader. Ansony Gaye Rebuts Mr. Weah, who said Cummings is not a leader. Ansony, you read the piece. I will give you about 4 minutes max to give your take to all of the issues that Mr. Cummings raised, for which he had reached this conclusion that Mr. Cummings is a survivalist and not a leader. Let us hear you quickly.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sieh, for the opportunity to come on here to debunk everything that was said by Mr. Cummings. First of all, I want to say I'm very appalled by his article about Mr. Cummings, and here's why. Look, if you can't respect an individual, if you don't have, anything positive about that person, it's just okay to say nothing. Mr. Cummings is a well-educated man and a senior person in terms of age to me, can be my father, and he's been around in the Liberian political arena for a very, very long time, meaning you have seen a lot of presidents come and go. You have seen, different political parties surface to the scene and die, natural death, and all of the different things. For him to take upon his time and write something of that caliber about Mr. Cummings, trying to, define who Mr. Cummings is in a very derogatory and dismissive way, I found that very appalling. Look, Mr. Cummings is a leader. And guess what? Very simple. This man, I have his high school speech he wrote when he was a high school president. And you can deduce from that particular speech that Mr. Cummings wrote to his school, a classmate, and everyone that attended the graduation program, that clearly this was a leader. I can challenge many people who are in high school today in this 21st century that may not be able to pen a letter of that statute. Okay? But let's take it further. Working and ascending to the highest level in the corporate world is no magic. You can't fake your way in the corporate world. Many companies let go CEO, directors, managers, supervisors in the first 90, 120 days or 360 days. They let them go. All because of those guys or those individuals not meeting the quota, not moving the needle, so to speak, the company not progressing, and all of the different things. Other people will say, but all these companies have templates. Granted. Let's look at sports, for instance. Basketball. I will take one of my favorite sports. You will find coaches jumping from one team to another, players jumping from team to team. Why? We saw Mark Johnson with the Golden State Warriors, who led a team for 6 consecutive years, but they could not go to the conference final. Every time they go round 1, round 2, and they fall short. They brought in Steve Kerr, and he won the straight 3 championships before they started losing. Another step further, you found people giving the same opportunity. Let me bring it home. The CPP was funded with no particular leader, but they themselves say, you know what? Since we have X amount of time to the 2023 general election, we will create a scenario where each person will have the opportunity to serve as chairman. And based upon that, the voters, the people of Liberia, will see the leadership style, and that will also inform voters who then can become our standard bearer. So the first person that led the CPP was Mr. Benedict Weah. Under his leadership, we didn't see anything of significance happen for the CPP. Even when he was turning over, he turned over to Mr. Cummings, who succeeded him with zero documentation. The CPP started a framework document that would never fully sign or register to NEC whatsoever. But that CPP's framework document was put together under Mr. Wilfred Urick. Okay? And all of these things happened under his watch. When he turned over the CPP to Mr. Cummings, to Mr. Cummings' credit, not only that CPP document was adopted, signed, and 1 second. Sorry, my kids came in the room. I locked the door already. I'm sorry. So the whole circumstances here is that Mr. Cummings took on the challenges. He took on the challenge, the responsibility, and the CPP was certificated under his leadership. Not only did the CPP receive Hall certification, but then the special election, the senatorial special election came about, and the CPP went to work. But before then, the CPP struggled to put in. 1 second here.
Folks, bear with us. The little kids always craving for attention, especially when daddy is in the business, and that is when they need attention. So it is understandable. Bear with us here.
I'm sorry, Mr. Sieh. I don't know why my daughter decided to open the door. I already locked the door.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So as I was saying, so the CPP became vibrant, became very visible, became engaging the Liberian public to the point that the CPP was tested, battle tested. The first battle was 15 counties need 15 representation from the CPP. Because the short period of time they had, they already decided that they will allocate counties to political parties, of which I personally disagree upon. But these are 4 men in a room and making decisions, hurried decision to get things done because of time factor. So they did what they could. I thought it was not possible that a candidate will be giving, or a party will be giving the county, and that party will feed in the candidate. I thought there should have been an open primary, but the time and everything else. But fast forward, Mr. Cummings was able to take hard decision. There were too many candidates that were qualified to be on the CPP ticket. But the decision have to be made, and tough decisions were made. Some candidates were successful. Some of them were successful to be put on the party ticket first place.
So your conclusion?
And so Mr. Cummings then was ever, even in Nima County, had to have a tough decision, someone that he mentored, that the Tower one way that he mentored through the whole process, that he wanted Tower one way, to have his opportunity. But we did a VPS 2 times. The gentleman flunked. So,
right.
Mr.
Please conclude that Mr. Cummings is a leader and not a survivalist. We'll go to the specifics, please.
So, Mr. Cummings had to take on the tough decision behind closed door on his own. Yes, he solicited pieces of advice here and there, but at the end of the day, he had to pull the trigger. And he did what we could do. If you look at the overall leadership of Mr. Cummings compared to his counterpart in the CPP, clearly we can say Mr. Cummings is a leader. He led the CPP with distinction. He even turned over to Madam Lawrence with documentation. Everything was in chronological order, was chronicled, and said, listen, yes, what I've done. Yes, everything here, you take it. And we saw once Mr. Cummings was out of the picture, the CPP had to scatter.
All right.
Today, Mr. Cummings is the presumptive chairman again, or acting chairman, because the chairman chickened out. But we'll get to that.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Ansony Gaye, giving his rebuttal, his counter to Mr. Weah's piece, in which he said Mr. Cummings is not a leader and that he is a survivalist. Let's start with the last point that you talk about, that Mr. Cummings was the most successful of the political leaders in the CPP who all had a rotational chairmanship. And so that is to say that he is a leader, because on his watch, the CPP, according to you, was visible. And in fact, when we go into the framework, maybe you will say the CPP were active, known, and visible. My question is that all that happened under Mr. Cummings as a leader that you are crediting to him was so because the other three leaders worked with him, they didn't undermine him. There was no accusation against him. I mean, in short, they supported him. They collaborated with him, all the parties so far. So it was a collective success, and it's not more so because Cummings was the guy making the decisions.
If a team wins, it's a teamwork. I am a believer of a team. If a team wins, the team take credit. But if the team is falling apart, you also see individual who you can pinpoint and say they are at fault. So, Mr. Sieh, when you are a leader, every good thing that comes, you get to enjoy those good things. When you are a leader, any bad thing that happened on your watch, you get to suffer and have to do the explanation of those things that happen. Mm-hmm. That's the package that a leadership brings. A leadership is not one-sided. It's a complete package. And one, you are given that responsibility to exercise that leadership, you have no excuse. Whether you were helped along the way with your counterpart, all of those things, in a nutshell, get accredited to you.
I agree, Anthony. Let me interrupt you here.
Hold on, I'm going to get to that point.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Some will say, but Cummings did not cooperate with other with the other. So when Buaka, not Buaka, when Weah was the first chairman of the CPP, there was no such thing as documents being altered, right? There was no such thing like that. Why didn't we see leadership from Mr. Weah? Why didn't we see CPP being very vibrant under his leadership?
But someone might say that time the CPP was forming at that time, and it was just forming, so it was not strong yet. You were still building strength, so you couldn't have seen anything more than on a Euro at the time.
Mr. Sieh, let me say this to you,
right?
And I will use your own network, the focus on Liberia.
Mm-hmm.
This network from the umbrella stage was not getting the viewership it's getting today.
I agree.
You guys have to put in the work. You were not attracting big names to your platform at the time. Mm-hmm. Today, you can call on senator, representative, ambassadors, and all the different names. Even on presidential aspirants come on this platform.
Right.
All because of the work you put in. Tomorrow, your segment, Our Politics, goes down. Who are they going to blame? Are they going to blame Mr. Ja, who does not run Our Politics? The only thing they blame every one of you when they say the network, then they blame every one of you. But your segment, Our Politics, the credit always comes to you. Oh, he always fired up. Oh, he had the political, on grounding. Oh, he speaks with passion and all of the different things. Those attributes get accredited to you because you run this segment on the platform.
And earlier you said the success of CPP under Cummings was, your own words, was a collective effort.
Yes.
So how can this collective effort only be a proof that Mr. Cummings is a leader and that he did not survive on the collaboration of the other political leaders?
It's simple. The decision for Tai Wongwe to get off the CPP ticket and Ida Gonglo were to be chosen as the CPP candidate in Nimba County. Do you know Nimba County was allocated to ANC, not the Liberty Party? Madam Ida Gonglo were from the Liberty Party, a constituent party in the CPP. Mr. Cummings had to let go his partisan.
Mr. Gaye, we'll come to the Tai Wongwe issue as a specific issue. Hold on, please.
No, we're talking about leadership.
Hold on, please. We'll come to that. We are talking about Mr. Cummings here. We'll come to the Taiwan issue as a specific, point where he sacrificed somebody, because woman Kuning accusation is that for Cummings to remain relevant, okay, all right, he's sacrificing people who support him in exchange either for the chairmanship of the CPP or for him to remain relevant in the CPP. Now, as chairman of the CPP, what specific decision as chair of the CPP that Cummings make? What specific decision that he make? What kind of specifics that he actually provided as leader for? So naming things. Okay, good. That he did as a leader of the CPP. Good. To show that he was actually a leader other than a collaborative effort.
The first major decision that Mr. Cummings made was, yes, indeed, we collaborating. Yes, indeed, we doing things together. But we cannot just collaborate and don't have a document registered at NEC as an entity. So when DeLong got elected the first time, there was no such document binding them together. All right, it was only an agreement, and DeLong went as a CPP candidate.
Okay, so on his life, they got the framework document to register the CPP. That's one. What
it was under Cummings' leadership that he made sure. Mind you, the framing of the document was under Mr. Weah. It was under Mr. Weah's leadership when the document was framed. But that document was never registered at NEC.
I agree. You already nailed that part. Give me other things that he accomplished as leader.
That responsibility that document has to be notarized, has to be registered, so we can be an official entity in Liberia.
You are still speaking on the document. We got that. What other accomplishment did he have?
The second accomplishment by Mr. Cummings was that everything the CPP was responding to national trending issue of Liberia. The press statement was being issued in the name of CPP and not individually, because he made sure that, hey, this issue that affecting the Liberian CPP need to take a stand. We can't be on the roadside. So, Mr. Cummings, if you look at his record, those press statements that were coming out, it was coming out as CPP.
All right. We got that. CPP was responding to issues affecting the country.
Correct.
What else did he do?
The next thing that Mr. Cummings did for the CPP is that the due payment, the ANC was very current on its due payment for the survivability of CPP. You cannot operate without contributing your tax. So ANC,
anybody can pay their dues, right? So how is
everyone that needs pay? We know parties in the ARP still owe the CPP. The United Party still owe the CPP. They didn't pay their party dues. Only two political parties within the CPP that met up with that obligation is the Liberty Party and the ANC.
But Mr. Gaye, that is obvious. It's been reported that Mr. Cummings is a waterman. So paying those few $1,000 is not anything. I don't think that is
leadership. No. But let me just say this. Let me just say this. Being worthy does not mean you have to just spend your money because you acquire wealth. You must contribute to whatever you have passion for. So if you believe that you want to help liberate Liberia,
even a kid with $1,000 can take that money and buy an iPhone. So I don't see that.
Well, that is not an iPhone. That is a political party that is a government in waiting and need to exercise.
The three that you listed, those are the only specifics that Mr. Cummings accomplished as a leader to prove that he's a leader.
Another specific here is that another specific of Mr. Cummings here is that before he turned over, he didn't just turn over to Madam Yamdi Kanga Lauren to say, oh, yes, the CPP. Every documentation of CPP, he turned it over. He also chronicled everything he did in a step-by-step order and said, listen, we established the CPP chapter was established across the nation. It was under Mr. Cummings that CPP chapter was established in various counties.
All right. So let us talk about this also. I maintain that all of these were possible because Mr. Cummings got the collaboration of his friends even though he was the head at the time. But there were some things that were left undone.
Yes.
That speak to Mr. Cummings not providing the utmost leadership with that tremendous opportunity that he had. The CPP, I will argue, was not institutionalized under Mr. Cummings. That is why when Mr. Bouaka took over, he said, we will institutionalize the CPP. Number two, the CPP as an institution in the 21st century. Mr. Cummings came from the corporate world where nearly every institution now has a website that people can use to access it. Mr. Cummings was a colossal failure. He did not build a website for the CPP. He could have just given the contract to somebody and it would have been done, provided leadership that, hey, gentlemen, we need a website so that people around the world can come to see our plans. The CPP did not craft a national governing plan for Liberia under Mr. Cummings. So the man was just surviving on his friend collaboration.
I would disagree there. With a website, yes. You cannot do everything within a span of 8 months. And
8 months is enough. You can build a website in 2 weeks.
Hold on, I gave you the opportunity. You're coming. Yes, with the website, for someone with my background, the first thing first, the website, definitely, we need a website. Even if that GoDaddy will host it for $9.95, we definitely need it. So everything about his leadership was not 100% perfect. But if you want to compare Mr. Cummings' leadership at the CPP level to his counterpart, then he's way up here and the other way down here, because I'll tell you, CPP was very successful, having 6 senators, all right, elected on his ticket, putting up 15 candidates in the 15 counties. That was not an easy decision in a very short time that we had, registering the party, being active as he was with the party, and the party being very viable and vibrant. And the Liberian people had a clear alternative. It was no joke that the CPP was tested and the CPP was proven to be a very formidable political party in Liberia under the leadership of Mr. Cummings. It didn't happen overnight. When Mr. Weah turned over to Mr. Cummings, he didn't turn over any document. No notes were turned over to him.
Mr. Gaye.
So yes, I will agree. Website should have been erected. We should have had a website, even up to our app. We are in the 21st century. So that one fine. But to say, hold on, to say because we didn't have a website, so every other thing that Mr. Cummings did, he did it through the survivability of the other party. That in itself is disingenuous, because those other people have
what's about the other point I raised about the crafting a governing plan for the CPP under his watch? It did not do so.
All of those things has already been mapped up. It was supposed to be done under Mr. Bouaka's turn. CPP have a map up exercise of items that needed to be done before 2023.
All right.
So
that was done under Cummings' leadership.
Yeah, how to select candidates to be put on, to how to become a representative candidate or senatorial candidate on CPP ticket. All of those things was in the working, and they were supposed to happen.
And were those things communicated to the Liberian people under this Cummings leadership for us to be in the know as a people what they were doing?
In the CPP framework document, it have a clear a roadmap which committee will lay out what. It was under Madam Yomlikanga Lawrence that the committee that were going to set up for the primary supposed to have been constituted and all of that stuff. It was under Bouaka that the primary should have taken place. So all of these things were earmarked based on the terms, based on the rotational terms. So they all could have not been done. Even the website, I found out later on that the website was put as far as under Mr. Bouaka leadership for the website to be launched. And to me, in my opinion, I just think it was backwards. It should have been launched under Mr. Cummings. That's my opinion. Like I said, I'm here as an individual supporter of the ANC, and I'm not an official spokesperson of the ANC. But I can tell you for a fact, with my background, I would have, encouraged that the websites be launched.
All right, Anthony, let's put it on the flip side. You said when Cummings was in charge, the CPP spoke with one voice, 2 press conferences and statements on national issues, and also holding the government accountable. On Cummings' watch, the CPP spoke as a political entity. On the flip side, when Cummings was not in charge, the ANC was speaking separately nearly all the time with press conferences and press statements. That meant that it was like he was undermining whoever was chairman at the time. Maybe that's why the other leader didn't succeed. Don't
no,
you see that?
even when ANC, I can go back and reference other statement. Even when Mr. Cummings was the chairman of the CPP, after CPP gave their press statement, the other political party like the Unity Party will put out statement where the Unity Party stand on certain issue and other different things. All right, so I can even War Crime Code, perfect example. The Unity Party put out a statement where they stand on War Crime Code. Even though the CPP put out a statement, but the Unity Party put out a separate statement where they stand on War Crime Code, right?
And the ANC did too, through
and the
leader.
ANC also did too.
Good. All right, fair.
So
enough.
I'm just giving you instances, but again, we cannot, ask them. They were supposed to put out statement. For instance, when the $30,000 thing came out, it was John Kanga Lawrence who was the chairperson then, right? She should have put out a statement, but she herself got caught up in the cookie jar when she received the first 15,000, and then when the public outcry, she rejected the second set of the $15,000. Remember? And so at that point, Mr. Cummings could not just sit back and say, yes, why people forgetting to know the CPP is a collaboration, meaning every political party within the collaboration is also independent. It is not a merger. Coalition on the flip side, it is a merger. Like the CDC is a coalition. So it's a two different things. Collaboration means you still operate as an independent party, but yet come and agree with us and take a stand with us together on national issues. So that's what the collaboration is all about. We're supposed to have moved to merger, and we didn't.
Thank you. Mr. Cooney, in his speech, charges that Mr. Cummings is a survivalist because he has been sacrificing his supporters or his partisans in exchange for a favor from Unity Party so that he can become the CPP candidate. And he gave some example. Number one, Simeon Taylor in Grand Cape Mount County.
Cape Mount, yes.
Yeah. Cooney in his speech is saying he was sacrificed by Mr. Cummings so that Unity Party will take that seat, then Unity Party will reciprocate in the future when it comes to the primary. He also went further by saying Tai Wonwe was sacrificed, all right? And that means that Mr. Cummings allowed Tai Wonwe to not take the seat when that seat was allotted to ANC, something you yourself explained for what's her name, Ide Gonglo, who is from the Liberty Party, so that in the future, Liberty Party will be gracious to Mr. Cummings so that he will survive politically. Fast forward, Slonta, his former running mate, I believe in Bomb County, was also sacrificed for, I think, one other party, it might be the Unity Party again. He said, Mr. Cummings is doing this so that these parties, he's giving this opportunity that belong to his party and his partisans to have occupied this position or to be on these tickets so that he will be a beneficiary in the long run. So he's been sacrificing his own people. And he said that is dangerous, and that's how a survivalist behave. And that was not leadership on the part, because in the case of Tai Wonwe, he should have stood his ground. I know this seat was allotted to my party. It's my party time. In Cape Mount County, no, this is ANC time. He never did that. What's your response?
And here's how I respond to that. First of all, the CDC sees Mr. Cummings as a serious political threat. And they would rather have JMB in the general election than to have Mr. Cummings.
Are you sure you're responding to the question I asked?
I'm gonna go there. And guess what? I will take the Simeon case first. The Simeon case, it was, may his soul rest in peace, a senator who passed away, and that senator having to be a Unity Party senator or ran on a Unity Party ticket and was elected as a Unity Party senator. Unfortunately, he lost his life and the seat got vacated. The first thing that the Unity Party said is their seat. Mind you, at that time, there was no framework document whatsoever of the CPP. There was no documentation as to how we select a candidate and all of the different things and who gets on the ticket and whatnot. So they were still in the embryo stage trying to, merge together, gel together and all of the different things. And the noise was coming. That was not healthy for our collaboration. And so what Mr. Cummings did, spoke to Mr. Taylor and said, listen, it will be a good thing that you step aside, let these people run. But at that time, Mr. Taylor has already registered with NEC. And there was no way he could pull out because NEC has already certified.
So why were you called what Cummings were doing right there? It's not a sacrifice?
No, that is not sacrifice. That is not sacrifice because sacrifice
what is that?
the picture and you never get a chance. That's sacrifice.
What is that? Just describe for me why you think it is.
What Mr. Cummings did was a political guardians for a better future. And today, that seat, who holds that seat today? Mr. Simeon Taylor.
And what was the goal? What was the end result of that which Mr. Cummings did? Don't you think it was because of a favor?
So, Mr. Simeon Taylor, yes, how the decision was reached. Mr. Simeon Taylor participated in that election, even though Mr. Cummings campaigned for the United Party candidate, and they both lost. But Mr. Simeon Taylor outperformed the United Party back candidate by CPP. And so it was obvious that Mr. Simeon Taylor stand a better chance to win that seat, but the United Party, they were not listening. They were very vehement. They could not even come to the table to say, oh, let's look at the potential here. Who stands a better chance? That was after that incident that the CPP came together and said, you know what? This whole selected candidate businesses, we don't have a proper way. We will just allocate a county to individual parties. And
so fast forward to Nimba County with Tawombe.
So
that was ANC allotted county.
Yes.
And Cummings would tell Tawombe to step aside.
Not just right off the bat.
Of that agreement, that gentleman agreement
for
his own political survival.
The CPP tested what the ANC tested what she has introduced to the CPP, the VPS, right? The voter perception survey. So that VPS was conducted twice in Nimba County, and in both instances, Madam Ida Gonglo won significantly. Even the election that was held in Nimba County speaks for itself because Madam Ida Gonglo received 38,000 votes, while Mr. Tawombe received 5,000 plus votes. So even if Mr. Cummings was going to take Tawombe in politics, it is not about who you pick. It is the best candidate who stands a better chance to win that you pick. You don't pick Anthony Gaye because Anthony Gaye comes from Grand Jide County and he thinks he can win. You will pick Ansony Sieh to win in Grand
that he was sacrificed. Mr. Tawombe believes he was sacrificed.
Okay.
He said that openly.
No. We have a system. The VPS was tested 2 times, not once, but twice. And the results show that Madam Ile Gongo was the stronger candidate. So, because, and one good thing I give Mr. Cummings credit is that not because a person is part of the CPP, but not directly from one party, so I should deny that person the opportunity, knowing for the way this person got the numbers. If Mr. Tawombe
was allotted to ANC, you should recognize that.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
And the voter perception survey could be wrong too.
No. Listen,
polls go wrong, right? All the polls against Trump were against Trump, but Trump ended up winning.
No. That's a 2 different scenario. Apple and oranges are the same, but they are very unique in this category. So let me say this to you, right? Tawombe circumstances. If Tawombe will listen, today he would have been the anointed senatorial aspirant for Nimba County, and he was, and he was had an opportunity to win.
They anoint people, Anthony?
Huh?
In politics, they anoint people?
I'm speaking figuratively, you know that.
All right. I was just trying to pick on you. Go ahead.
You know I'm speaking figuratively. So here's the thing. He's trying to define Mr. Cummings. And let me say this to him. He tried. But do you know who's a true survivalist here? That true survivalist is President Weah. President Weah was given the opportunity as a senator. And you and I know there is 0 work he's done in the Senate except for collecting his salary. Up to this point, it's been 5 years. You, as a political commentator, as a blogger, have tried to interview them, even journalists on the ground. I never had an opportunity. President Weah have refused to have press conference. I challenge President Weah to take 1 hour of his time to address the nation on issues he feels comfortable with. Whether it's the economy, whether it's sporting, whether it's tourism, whether it's sanitation, whatever he so choose, he can choose whatever topic for 1 hour, unfiltered. Let journalists ask him. He will not do it.
Mr. Gaye, thank you so very much. You are right.
So he's the true survivalist there, not Mr. Cummings.
Mr. Gaye, thank you for your point there on President Weah. I'm not agreeing with you, but I'm just saying it is a fact that President Weah has not had a major press conference since he got elected as president. You are also right. Focus on Liberia has made effort. Specifically, we had engaged Smith Toby, who we have contact with. And I said, look, we want to interview the president. We are a Liberian Media Institute. Why can't we interview our president? And they are like, you guys should interview. I said, look, I'm a crewman. President Weah, I'm told he's crew. We can speak crew. That's the language I speak better than English. You know, maybe they will make it simple. But that's besides the point. Let's come to the last segment here, and then we will bring in our audience.
I think it's kept a training issue. We didn't talk about Jefferson Koijee.
Oh, yes. We will get to that. I forgot that I just slipped my mind right there. So let us come to this Ava Tuba case. Mr. Cooney, in his speech, also charges that this is further demonstration on Mr. Cummings' part as a survivalist and not a leader. He argues that Mr. Cummings had prior knowledge of the content of this book, and he did not take action that the language in there was inappropriate, and he needed to make a decision for Ava to part ways. He waited for this book to get exposed to the public, especially the content that people have problem with, and the public outcries and receiving phone calls for him to, he saw that that had put his political life on trial. So to survive, he had to ask Mr. Ava Tuba to leave. That is not a decision of a leader. That is a decision of a political survivalist so that he can survive politically. What is your response to that?
Look, we heard Moluba Molu describing the president's behavior on a tape, and the CDC said it was liquor talk or locker room talk and all the different things, right? Here is the same man, a die-hard fan of President Weah, sees nothing wrong with this government. But yet, he's calling Mr. Cummings a survivalist who took the moral standing. In my lifetime, I have never seen anyone being dismissed in Liberia on moral grounds, on ethical issue and moral discipline. I have never seen that before. This is the first of its kind that a person will lose his or her job on moral grounds in Liberia. Mr. Cummings did it not because he wanted to please President Weah or the rest of the other people. It was the Liberian women who were insulted in this thing. Not President Weah's wife was glorified. If you read that language, she was glorified in that book. And people who read without comprehension got into the street and said they're protesting on behalf of the First Lady. When in essence, it denigrates our sisters, our mothers, our wives, the way in which the chapter 13 described the lady. And so you and I have read excerpt of that, and you can clearly see that.
No, I read the entire book.
Correct. And you can clearly see that chapter did not in any way promote Liberian woman. It denigrated Liberian woman and in essence promoted the president's wife. But because again of political shenanigans, they made it out of political issue. Look, Mr. Cummings needs to be commended here. He pulled a trigger that more people will not pull. We saw the likes of Mo Ali. Today, he still has his job as a general secretary of a major political party with what he did. We have seen Moluba Molu still have a job for a major political party. And he said all those things about the president. The tips are out there. These are not my words. So if Mr. Coney didn't have an article from Monroe Boru, how then can he come and want to speak of Mr. Cummings, who have taken a stand? Now, he claims that Mr. Cummings had prior knowledge. There is another rabbit hole I will not try to follow. Okay? These are things, because they are trying to pull the kitchen sink at Mr. Cummings, there's nothing for them to talk about. So, 1 minute, oh, he's like this. Another minute, is this name. And nothing is sticking. Even the case in court about to be thrown out, because the same document that the prosecutor had is the same document that Mr. Cummings' lawyer presented. They claim that Mr. Cummings presented or original document. He said there's no such thing like that original document because it does not exist. So now they turn into something else. You cannot define Mr. Cummings. And today, yeah, let me say this, Mr. Sieh. I myself want to hold my ANC folks accountable today on your platform. For 9 months now, we've been on the defensive. It's about time that we take the opportunity to go on various platforms like this platform and other platforms who are not favorable to ANC or not pro-ANC, so we can preach our message. I see my folks having podcasts of the same ANC people, preaching the message to the same ANC choir. That's not going to help Mr. Cummings. Mr. Cummings cannot only be the one preaching this message. We all need to get out there. Go to places where you feel uncomfortable and speak the truth about your party. No more that some of us will sit back and be on the defensive. We will be on the offensive going forward, because if you're part of the communication team of ANC and you are in Liberia and you're sitting down and you're not getting on the radio and you're not writing on Facebook and you're not taking the message to the people, and Mr. Cummings alone got to be walking back and forth, and even have to take the lawyer to have a press conference to explain to the people that no original document was submitted. So those folks in the ANC who claim to be the one controlling the communication, I'm speaking to you directly. I'm sick and tired right now sitting here and trying to defend Mr. Cummings when there's nothing to defend. Mr. Cummings is the presumptive president of Liberia 2023 because he has what it takes. His work speaks for itself. He has a STEM school in Liberia, never of its kind in Liberia. We have it now. We have his foundation just launched a scholarship program, clearly spelled out.
Thank you.
$850,000 Liberian dollar was given to Tubman University in the Southeast. Guess what? All you need, you must have 2.5 GPA. Maintain that GPA, apply. You don't have to be a partisan of ANC. You don't have to be a supporter of Mr. Cummings. You must just be a Liberian or a student of that school. Period. You are qualified to have that scholarship. That's what we call scholarship. It's not going to school, pay 3 or 4% tuition that you say you get scholarship. The scholarship is open to everyone. You're a citizen, you're a Liberian, you have no party. If you are in that school called Tubman University in Maryland County, Harper City, guess what? You have yourself an opportunity, my dear brother and sister, to register, to apply for that scholarship and have some financial assistance with your school activities.
Thank you.
And that's what a person can do.
Thank you. Thank you, Ansony Gaye there, giving his rebuttal to Weah Cooney's piece in which he charges that Mr. Cummings is a survivalist and not a leader. I want to comment on your point there, and I want to applaud you for making that point. I have continued to say that the political party ANC preaches to inquire 99.9% of the time, and that is repugnant. They don't like me, but I like them. But I like them with the truth, and that's why they don't like me. Look, why am I saying this? Either you want to do it or stop wasting our time. I'm saying this because we are talking about the ANC. It's not that I have any interest in them. Let me contrast that with Josh Lobo. Josh Lobo is a partisan of the Unity Party. If there's anybody who supports Joseph Walker out there, that's Josh Lobo. He has his own platform. Josh Lobo goes everywhere to sell his candidate. I encourage those who claim that they have somebody they trust that can make a good president for Liberia. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, stop fooling around. When an ANC people are live on an ANC platform, only ANC people go to listen. You're not gaining anything. You are not winning anybody over by telling your people the same thing over and over and expecting that will translate into votes to people for whom the message is intended that you're not even sending the message to anyway. It's a waste of time. So I commend you for being brave enough to say that. We reach out to Mumba Modu. Most of the time we reach out to ANC people, it's all bunch of Thank you. Mumba Yobo, bunch of excuses. You even have to remind them like over and over before they can respond to a single message. I send the first message to Mumba Yobo, he won't respond. Second, he won't respond. Third, he won't respond. I have to say, Mr. Communication Director, really? Then he felt that my reputation is on the line. Let me respond. Come to think about this. These guys are getting paid by Cummings. You need to fire some of these people. And that's why I like George Lobo. That's why my critical nature on any critical stance on any political party or any political leader. I love Lobo because Lobo does it best. I disagree with a lot of stuff, especially when it comes to Bwaka and when it comes to the Unity Party. We disagree a whole lot. But the gentleman is always on point. He's selling his candidate. Maybe the ANC people need to learn from George Lobo and not just go against him because of a critical stance on Mr. Cummings' politics.
No, we can learn from him. We also have people like me.
No, what you can learn from him is that go and sell your candidate to places.
That's what you can learn from him because most of the information you put out there are not truthful.
But before, I say I don't agree with him most of the time, but I just like the guy because he's all out. And he talks about why he believes he sells a candidate everywhere. And if you want to do this thing, you have to do it. And the same goes to even folks in the CDC. Final thing here is Jefferson Koijee, the incompetent and meaningless, unconsequential mayor of Monrovia. This guy is a junior brother to me. I can say he's my friend. And I'm dealing with him because he being in this position, it does not serve our country well. It's a disservice that President Weah has done to our country. This further proves that Weah is not a leader. He has no idea about the consequences of the decision that he makes. All right. So this man comes up and say, hey, Monrovia can be clean now. The reason you see all the debt piled up because donors are not giving up money. There's donors fatigue. That is why I can't do my job. Seriously. But I'll let Ansony to go first because I will come with fire. Ansony, what is your take? The mayor said the city is debted because the donors are not giving up, American people not giving up money, Europeans not giving up money, so the city will remain debted. What do you make of this statement? What does this statement show about this man and the kind of mayor we have?
Well, this man just notarized his own letter of incompetence. He just took it to the notary public and have his signature affixed on it. And the notary public just put his stamp on it. That's what Mayor Koijee did. Look, I've said this and I will say this again today. If the Liberian government will prioritize the mayoral position or the superintendent position as an elected positions, even though the Constitution says that, but since a long time they've been appointing people, because I know may so rest in peace Dr. Sawyer, who passed away, ran for city mayor of Monrovia before, and so I can speak to that. Look, I told people like if that position were to be an elected position, I would rather be a city mayor in Liberia of any county or city that I so choose to exercise what it means to be a city mayor. Raul Manuel, the former chief of staff of Obama, resigned his position at the White House and took on the city of Chicago. He's still the current mayor of Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
No, he got appointed.
They got new mayor now, right?
And he's an ambassador. I don't remember where, but he's an ambassador.
He relinquished his position. Yeah, but he's still working in the body administration. But that's what he did. All right. Mayor Bloomberg in New York served 3 terms because he saw what it means to be a mayor. You are the chief executive, for God's sake, of the city. In military, safe position is greater than rank, meaning you're the chief of President Weah in that city. That's what it means. Now, because he doesn't understand what it means to be a mayor, he's supposed to be creating up to 500,000 good-paying jobs in that city. Yes, I said it. Mayor Jefferson Koijee, you're supposed to be creating jobs. Look out the outskirts of Monrovia, a very beautiful city that investors want to come to look at the ocean front of Monrovia. People want to come to a city like that, okay, and invest. Removing trash remover should be the cheapest thing, the minute thing that you should think about. Your job as a mayor is not just to remove trash. That's the simplest and the smallest part of your responsibility as a mayor. You're supposed to be negotiating with investors to come to that city and invest in that city. And every business within that footprint of Monrovia supposed to be paying taxes to you. And you use that taxes. And if our mayor of Monrovia City, the Monrovia City police was going to be in power, so we'll have the Monrovia City police department or the metropolitan area of Monrovia. That police will run the city of Monrovia, so that LMP now work on the outskirts. Anything that happens within that metropolitan area of Monrovia gets handled by the Monrovia City Police. You don't understand your function. You don't understand the function of a mayor. Look, you are more than a president in a city that have over 1 million people, and you crying for dirt. That dirt is the smallest thing that you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be creating jobs. You're supposed to be creating opportunities. You're supposed to be creating. Look, do you know how many schools can birth out of investor coming to Monrovia? Do you know how many hospitals can be erected out of investor coming to Monrovia? Do you know how many professional jobs and career paths can be generated out of the leadership of the city of Monrovia? Look, Liberians are not thinking because they think that everybody got to go to the executive mansion to make some kind of money.
Thank you.
Think outside of the box. Why should you beg people to remove trash? The trash circumstance in Monrovia is simple. You bring a dumpster because we don't have sewer system. So we have to move the trash to a location. That dirt, you can turn it into fertilizer and sell the fertilizer back to the market, so agriculture can purchase your fertilizer, Mayor Koijee. You don't know that? You don't know that the plastic that coming out of that also can be recycled and made PVC pipe, so you can run pipe-borne service in the city, so we can have pipe-borne water. That plastic that you throw away, it can make PVC. The pipe. No, you're not thinking again because you're not doing research. You want to wear bow tie and be passing around, wear Gucci shoes and do all of those different things. That's the reason why you're not thinking. If I were you, Mayor Koijee, 10 to 50, if not 50 factories. Factories will be built. Guess what? We don't process our own rubber. We don't process our own cocoa. We don't process nothing. I live in Abidjan. There are over 50 factories in Abidjan. Nestle is one of the what they call, and Hershey in America is an American company that made chocolate. It's in Abidjan, my people. It is in Abidjan. The
Thank you, Ansony.
in Abidjan is in Yopougon, Jesco, a specific area I'm giving you. Go to Jesco, you will see it there. Look, listen. You don't the lapper the car 9 unit watts, but Hollandais, meaning you watch the lapper.
Merci, mon ami. Mon ami, merci.
Yeah, it does not run. It don't run. You can wear that lapper for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. It still maintains its color. All right. It's called Hollandais. It is produced right in Abidjan. Okay.
Thank you.
They are. Give me the last 30 seconds. They are very. You know what they do with the agriculture sector? 40% of the domestic grown product are processed in Africa. 60% of that domestic grown product are exported. Do you understand? So, Mayor Koijee, I wish that Monrovia City mayor or across the nation that the mayoral position was an elected position. So some of us can jump into the race and teach the Liberian people that a mayor, a city mayor is even more powerful if you know what you're doing than a legislature. You understand?
We will all
you
advocate.
are the chief executive, especially in Monrovia, over 1 million people
Ansony,
in that city, and you're begging for someone to collect trash?
Ansony, we will advocate that all mayors across Liberia should be elected. I'm hearing that that is how it should be. I'm not sure because Amon Sawyer contested. So I think that is the case. Thank you so very much. Let me make my point. Our callers are waiting for us. the issue about Monrovia, I'm not going to speak long because I want to do justice to our audience here. So the CDC government is on record for saying they are generating record-breaking revenue. How do you generate record-breaking revenue? And Samuel 12 is also on record for saying they have also recorded a budget surplus. Our government is also on record for saying it has raised Liberia's budget to $780 plus million for the first time in its history. So this government is telling us that the money we have now in our possession as a country is more than what we have ever generated in our lifetime as a country. If that statement is true, because they have impressed on all that is true, how can the mayor then turn around and say the reason the trash is so much around the city is because we don't have money and the donors are not giving up money? That is contradictory. If we look at the budgets that just passed, the Liberian government now is saying it has in its possession $300 million more than all previous budgets. That is an additional $300 million. Is that not enough money to take some money from to clean the city? But guess what they did with the money? They increased President Weah budget from $400,000 to nearly $6 million. Instead of putting some of this money into waste management and the collection of trash, some of them are even saying, oh, Liberian people throwing trash around. Excuse me? Seriously? Didn't they say designated areas where the people could carry the trash? The places we see the trash piled up are the places designated by the mayor for people to dispose the trash, so they will come and collect it. But they are not doing it. To blame this thing on lack of donor support is sheer foolishness. And the mayor has only demonstrated that he does not able this job. President Weah should do the most honorable thing and do a reshuffle and let the mayor be appointed as advisor to the president on youth affairs, even though he will not give a good advice when it comes to the affairs of the youth, but so that he can continue to collect his free check and go back to school. That's what I have. Folks, we will take a short break. The phone number to call is right here, folks. Because of time, I will not be reading comments. I'm only taking calls. That is the number to call. We will take a short break while you get your calls in, and then we will take them, and then that will do it. Folks, we'll be right back. All right, we have our first caller. That is Emmanuel Zaza. Emmanuel, if you
I knew you were going to call. I knew you were going to call.
Yeah, Emmanuel, let us hear you quickly. Emmanuel, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, go straight to the issues. I think you've been following. Go ahead. Let us hear you. You have a minute.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. One information that I want to make clear is that
It's not audible. You might speak up so I can hear you.
Yeah. Are you hearing me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, one thing I want to talk about is that you don't over-exaggerate things. If you want to talk about something, talk about what you know about. Willie Knuckles, the Minister of Presidential Affairs for Ellen Johnson, was replaced on moral ground. So you don't know about it.
He was talking about the Weah administration.
No, you say I never have been in Liberia.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
You say I never have been in Liberia.
Okay.
So that is not true.
Okay.
It happened in Liberia. It happened in Knuckles was dismissed. That's what I have. And they are having other places, but I know Willie Knocker was displayed on moral ground. That's the first thing.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Willie Knocker, when you're cutting the hotel, you're right. I may have spoke on that one.
The next thing is the issue of the dismissal. Mr. Cummings, he did the right thing by dismissing the man. But the issue that I have with it is that he believed the man over the person that was spoken about. That's politics. The first person the man and Mr. Cummings and Mr. Mr. Weah are not in good terms. He may have done it to hurt him. So you can say Mr. Weah even have said that, but you don't even have power that you ever said it. Something that was a mistake. I do support Mr. Cummings. My support is not the Liberian way. Because in Liberia, people support their candidate and allow their candidate to do the wrong thing until he becomes president. For the fact asking the election to have so many dissenting positions. When CDC was in opposition, we are doing all the others did not question him. They said no, be president and automatically be a change man. That's what people are doing to Cummings today. I support Cummings. I send me Cummings to be a president. There are many that say Cummings are making today for us, suing him. They don't want to talk about it when you be president for the start correcting him. And then the case will be back tomorrow. Because the first question Mr. Cummings is to change to have executed the change institute. They are being disgruntled, they are being dishonest, they are not being respecting his friends. That's not good.
Thank you.
Then he changed to make my work better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to Harrison Poa. Mr. Poa, let us hear you quickly, please. Let's hear from you.
All participants are muted and they can unmute themselves.
Mr. Poa.
Yes, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, loud and clear. Go for it.
All right, so that the gentleman just left the phone. I mean, how sure am I? I mean, he's not a broadcast supporter trying to pretend that he's a Cummings supporter because talking about Mr. Cummings was disgruntled. He also has no evidence of that. But anyway, that's besides the point. So Mr. Cummings is not only a leader, but he's a great leader.
Okay.
Okay. Evidence of that is Brendan you has a kid. Congratulating Mr. Cummings for job well done because one, he said even under pressure, Mr. Cummings was always calm and collected. Okay? Now, when Mr. Cummings came to this collaboration, he came with an intention that we have an objective, that is to change the country. So we have to work together as a unit to achieve this goal. So everything he did was for this particular purpose. Let me just go back. You know, Mr. Cummings did an interview. In the interview, they asked him, what's your leadership style? Mr. Cummings said there are two leadership styles. One, you have to earn the leader's trust. Or two, or the leader, you have to lose the leader's trust. He said he's the kind of leader of going trusting people, and you have to lose his trust. That's the kind of leader he is. He goes in there, he trusts you until you do things to lose his trust. As you can see, many of the scholars have already lost his trust. Okay? Now, everything Mr. Cummings did as far as, Mr. Conan as sacrificing people, it's all compromise. He was compromising, and that's the reason why Mr. Hewitt, congratulating him for that. But let's assume Mr. Cummings went to the primaries, and Mr. Cummings lose the primaries, and Mr. Burger wins it. And Mr. Burger go on to be the president tomorrow and maybe transform Liberia. It's still the same goal. That's the objective. That's the objective Mr. Cooper is trying to accomplish. So all the people are talking about sacrificing in the process is for that same goal. But when Mr. Cooper is in the front running to be president, everybody's saying he's trying to see how to be like Mr. Cummings, only doing it for his own selfish thing. But that's not the case. Now, Mr. Cummings, everything he's doing, you always see the fruit of his labor now. You see more and more people being attracted to him. Why are more people being attracted to him? The number one hallmark of a leader is them trying to bring people together. And you see Mr. Cummings is bringing more and more people together. Those are all things we have to look at. And the more and more people being attracted to this man, more and more people, trying to see now that this man is the man. Nobody has ever been around Mr. Cummings.
Mr. Poa, Harrison, you are emphasizing the aspect of attraction that many people are flocking to Cummings and the ANC because of Mr. Cummings. So if we can use that yardstick as attraction, then President Weah is a leader too, right? Because if anybody has attracted a lot of people, that would be President Weah. So talk to me. You
No,
think
no, no.
just attraction can call it?
Yeah, no, I already see Mr. Weah, Mr. Weah true colors has already been shown. And
Okay.
so this shown even more in 2023.
Okay.
Okay. You saw that, in the election with Derek Dillon, he just lost, a bid.
Mm-hmm.
We all know people. Look, before Mr. Weah became president, we heard stories about him, and the story still continues.
Mm-hmm.
Why were his best friend? Why were his best friend in this world? Say, oh, we don't have any problem. He came to the national scene and said, we don't have any problem, but to even enter his own brother company, he said, no, I'm not going to enter it. It has to be something really that happened between them, so that he refused to enter Mr. Weah company, but that's besides the point.
Okay.
Mr. Weah has a lot of baggages and will show up.
Okay.
But Mr. Cummings, you can see that Mr. Cummings, everybody that came close to Mr. Cummings, nobody has ever really come back to say this man is X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? It's not by accident, it's just his true nature.
All right.
So that man, Mr. Cummings was wrong about Mr. Cummings. Mr. Cummings is a good leader, he's a great leader, and he's going to make a better president come 2024.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Anthony Gaye. Let us get your response from what you just heard from the two callers. You are muted, Anthony. You are muted. Please unmute yourself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mr. Bois, the last caller was just, giving compliment to Mr. Cummings, and also was, making the case that Mr. Cummings is actually a leader. He's not a survivalist. So, as my friend, Emmanuel Zaza, called in, he's my childhood friend, by the way. So every time he sees me on, he always come home. Okay. He was right when you talk about Mr. Nogo. I totally forgot about that, and so thanks for the correction. But the other part is say, the way in which Mr. Cummings apologized, he didn't like that part. I don't think that is something that Mr. Cummings did with that, disciplinary action he took against Ava that would justify anything. But again, Mr. Sieh, in this life, as a leader, whatever decision you take, whether good or bad, there will always be, reaction to it. And it's part of life. It's part of politics. It's the nature of politics, and it's part of life. Especially when you, submit yourself to a public life, you are subject to public scrutiny. Does that mean every criticism that come, will be fair, will be just, will be succinct? Absolutely not. But again, when you are in a public space, you learn to, have a thick skin, be open-minded, and be able to navigate the circumstances as they unfold. If there are other callers, fine. If not, I'll proceed by making some of the points that I have in my head about this survivalist thing and being a leader. Look, if anybody should be called a survivalist, clearly it's President Weah. President Weah came to the political scene, first of all, uneducated, not prepared. He only came with a celebrity status. People have to tell you, my man, go to school. Do somebody have to tell you, say, oh, Ansony, Sieh, go to school before you do that? Don't you know the fundamentals is preparing yourself, first of all? Look, you equip yourself, though you will solicit other idea, but you must also be fundamentally rooted in the area. I challenge President Weah with the MBA or MPA he has, and to say, okay, today I'm speaking on public works. That's what
I think that is a different territory.
I'm speaking on tourism, or I'm speaking on sanitation. That's my area of expertise. Mr. Sieh, if I'm elected today, Senate Mayor of Liberia, the very first thing I will take on in Monrovia, because I come from the background of telecommunication, is that way of LEC running wire all hanging everywhere, scattered here, a post of safety hazard. We must correct that. Every house must have a power meter. Every house must be regulated and properly. Look, we face something called a FCC in America, the Federal Communication Commission. If you do a job, you get fined. And then a group called OSHA, safety group, they give you $15,000 on fine. You must pay that within 30 days. If not, they revoke your license.
Thank you, Anthony. Let me roll in a few comments so that we can get your parting comments. Let us just stay to those who are writing. This one is from Sugar Vaughn. Mr. Sieh, you and Mr. Kone are part of the problem by supporting President Weah, an incompetent and uneducated individual. Yeah, with evidence of incompetency from his position as senator. I'm not supporting President Weah. I think you got that wrong. It's Mr. Koijee who is supporting Mr. Weah. I think he talked about that when he got on the phone. They hear from it's in Mampo Hall. George Weah does not know how to speak Kru at all. Yet that man speaking Kru, you will laugh. Well, at least his Kru might not be perfect, but he speaks some Kru. That I can say to say that President Weah cannot speak Kru at all. No, he does. He speaks Kru. It may not be as perfect. Not all of us are perfect. With the vernacular. So that one, don't go there. Time to sell Mr. Cummings. They want.
I agree with Vivian.
Yeah, time to sell Mr. Cummings. They want to keep us on the defensive. No way. You see, that person is agreeing with you there that it is time to sell Cummings. They are defending and defending. Let me bring this one in. It's from Aliton Colley. My brother, you are wasting your time. Nowhere in the world that Mr. Cummings will become president of Liberia. They hear from Abbott. So then, why are those who rank above him refusing to go to the primary as they all agree to? Why are they bullying and forcing Cummings to violate the CPP framework agreement? Is that how we want to continue to do things in Liberia? Is that how we want to change Liberia? That person is writing in a lot of comments there. They hear from this person again, Mr. Sieh. Okay, I think I read that one, just been reposted. They hear from Fanny Cebu. Ansony Gaye, you will never agree with George Lobo because he is not buying your comments. Like hear from Hawa Yuma, ANC people feel they know everything, they insult everyone. Once you talk about negative about Cummings, every candidate needs to be critiqued. But as soon as you try it, you are the worst person. But they can criticize other political parties, leaders with insight. I don't think everybody in ANC insult people when they criticize Cummings. So that is an exaggeration to say that everybody in the ANC. Let's hear from this person here, Samira Prout. Sieh Goya, no one will learn from George Lobo. GMB is a byproduct that is hard to sell, and that's why Lobo and others are selling him over time. That is why the person is saying, and did I say anything about GMB? Please read my comment. Sieh Goya commented earlier that Ansony Gaye should learn from George Lobo because George Lobo he goes everywhere to sell his candidate, and that is why that person is disagreeing with. Well, because of time, I will take leave of you here, but let me do this one. Mampu writes, but you, Mr. Ansony Gaye, came on here saying Mr. Koijee had disrespected your Mr. Cummings, but you are here saying George Weah came on board uneducated. Is that respectful, sir? That is a question for you to answer, Mr. Gaye. Time is fast spent.
I think I will start with Mapu. I will start with Mapu on last comment, then I'll respond to how I think I need human.
Yeah, please brief as much as possible. Time.
All right, good. So Mapu, here's the thing. When I say the man is uneducated, my parents are uneducated. That is not an insult. Both of my parents are uneducated. That is not an insult. I was saying then he was uneducated. George Weah holds a master's degree. Okay, so that's a different ballgame now. He holds a master's degree, and so even if he counting words, reading his speeches and stuff, believe in your heart that George Weah holds a master's degree. But again, I never insulted George Weah, President Weah here. I never insulted him. I just said he went to politics unprepared, and he stayed unprepared up to this day. Even obtaining a master's degree did not even help him as well. Now, so says how you mind if I say your last name right? Look, stop generalizing everyone who spoke to you in a derogatory manner from the ANC side. First of all, I want to apologize if you were insulted by someone who claimed the ANC membership and spoke to you in that manner. But some of us who believe in our party and believe in our senator, we are open. Like for me, I can speak for myself. I'm very open, and Mr. Sieh can attest to that. Even if my writing go on Facebook, you will not find me insulting anyone because they disagree with Mr. Cummings or they call Mr. Cummings criminal defendant or any other subtitle baby police, all the different names that they have from Mr. Cummings. I have never insulted anyone based on those premises. You know why? Because I'm better than that. Right? I know Mr. Cummings is the alternative to Liberia's problem because of what he comes with. He brings to the table the qualification, the leadership, and the discipline. One thing that people understand, it's not the motivation that gets you through what you want to do. It is the discipline that maintains you through the process. The caller mentioned that earlier, that Mr. Cummings, under pressure, he's not deterred. He's a soft-spoken guy, but he's very firm. You understand? So even under pressure, Mr. Cummings makes very good decisions and great ones too. Look, you don't arose to the level that Mr. Cummings went in the corporate world by mistake. I don't know any Liberian out there who are raising to that level in the corporate world. I'm not saying you start your own business and you're successful, you're the CEO of your business. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you are an employee. You take order from someone. You go through the ranks and file and get to that level. Look, you work in the United States. Being a supervisor in itself is a leadership role, and the responsibility is huge. And you must, give account of your employee. Let alone becoming a manager and going to a director level, then becoming a vice president, then regional vice president, then vice president for global affairs. It's a complete different thing. Meaning you must understand the politics and the law of that country. You do logistics, you do human resource. I mean, so many 15 different responsibilities were given to Mr. Cummings. Google it. Don't believe me for that. So coming to Liberia, there is a simple but complicated thing. The only reason why it's complicated is because we don't have the resources and the human capital. When I speak of human capital, people with skill sets. If Liberia should have a call center, today we all can call this big name company and we want to talk to somebody, and the call get routed to the Philippines, the call get routed to India, the call get routed to Vietnam. That same call center can be placed in Monrovia, and Liberia, from about 500 to 1,000 or 1,005 people can be employed. Liberians speak good English, but guess what? You don't have a reliable electricity for the call center to be placed in Monrovia, where hundreds of servers will be installed, and the internet server has to be constant, and the electricity has to be constant. You cannot run a call center with a generator. So again, our national police need the logistics that they need. Today, we don't have something called a national registry or a command center where when somebody in Carway area and another person all the way Duper Road area, they can coordinate and say, hey, listen, we have this suspect here and there. We don't have that. How do I know? When Yeke Kaluba will stop doing the protest, the January 6th protest, and remember the Fairmont pickup was taken to the police custody, the IG himself said, oh, we don't know if this pickup belongs to Yeke or the pickup belongs to somebody, but this is the pickup that Yeke was driving. Mind you, that pickup at that time has been in the custody of the police for an hour and a half, and the police could not authenticate whether that pickup was for Yeke or not. If there was a national registry, that license plate is registered to the vehicle, and that vehicle is assigned to a person, and you can identify who vehicle it is. That's why we need a national registry. That's why we also need a command center to be able to run our country. Look, we got the list. I got a bucket list of things. But here's the thing. We have an individual who said he's not going to take a salary. He said it 2017, and he's saying it now. Mr. Cummings has a 5-minute video, not long, but 5 minutes, where he's summarizing everything you're going to do. The what's need to be done, and the how it will be done, and how it will be paid for. The other day, I questioned Judge Lobo on his own show, and I said, Otto, why are you talking about ARTS, about GMB? How will he pay for it? The response from Judge Lobo, my man, don't ask me that BS question. That's what he said to me. You know what? He doesn't know how it will be paid for. Well, I know how Mr. Cummings intends to pay for those items that are outlined in his platform. He's the only presidential aspirant that have his platform outlined in the 5-minute video, and I can post it and I share it, inbox me, I will inbox it to you. Guess what? Because he has studied Liberia, he had traveled across the length and breadth of Liberia, he had understood the circumstances of Liberia, and he said, number one thing on his list is electricity, infrastructure. You know what? You cannot function in this 21st century without electricity. You will bear with me. Anything you do today, even in the hospital now, technology is the way. You have a doctor can be in California and another one on the East Coast in Pennsylvania, and they're communicating and they're having a 3D surgery being performed. Look, we are behind 25 years in the technological war. When are we going to catch up? When are we going to catch up? Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings Jr. is the option for Liberia 2023. And guess what? He has proven to the Liberian people that not only he has a school in Duper Road area, the STEM school, STEM for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, he's launching scholarship program across the nation. He's donating stuff to schools. He built a clinic in a remote spot of Nima County. He has dedicated clean drinking water to Liberians who were in a slumping area. Somebody told me, oh, you carry a pipe-borne water to the neighborhood that hand pump. Guess what? Do you have pipe-borne water service in that neighborhood that Cummings did not sign up for? If you have it there, then yes. But until we can build that infrastructure, the first and cleanest way he can get the people water, that's why he provided them. So the hand pump in that particular neighborhood was very necessary.
Thank you, Anthony.
Some of you want to criticize? Come on with your criticism. But your criticism should be also logical. It cannot be an ignorant criticism. It cannot be just a blanket. And the word ignorant, again, it's not an insult. You mean you lack the knowledge thereof of a particular circumstance you're speaking of. So yes, I can use the word ignorant. And some of you going to run and say, here's the ANC guy again insulting people on FOL. We respect this platform. We don't come here and use words that are not permissible in the ears of our listeners. So we don't use those words. I'm too sophisticated to use colorful languages to describe my opponent or make a point. I can use various words that to describe my point or make my point and just do not offend people. I also am not dismissive of anyone because guess what? Everyone has their own desire to do whatever they want to do. We don't dismiss people. Come to us. We will have the conversation. Mr. Sieh, I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. Don't make this the last time. I'm always available and will be available going forward. I'm sick or tired of us taking the backseat defending our candidate. We got to be on the offense. I can go on any platform, any day whatsoever, whether here in the United States or in Liberia. I used to be on many sedition run platform. I've been black. Number one, the Michael Gaiman show, they blacked me there because I was trending heavily there. I've been trending on the Prince Sherry show, they blacked me there. Recently, he unblacked me. I can see a show. I called a show the other day. Guess what? I will go to places that people will feel that we may feel uncomfortable. I'll call Sekou Cannon to go on a show. I used to be on a show, and I always call a show as well. He never blocked me, and he never always agreed with what I have to say. But guess what? You ANC folks, my own folks, get out of your comfort zone. Let's sell our candidate. Stop having in-house messaging to each other. Whatever you're going to narrate about Mr. Cummings, I already know. I've been in the ANC since 2016. What else are you going to tell me? You're preaching to the choir. Take the message out there. We have a candidate that is too sophisticated, that have proven. Look at what he led. Look at the car he drives. It is not government stolen money. It is his hard-earned money. We should reward good behavior in our country and let our people understand that, listen, it is rewarding when you work hard for your own money. We have taught our Liberian brothers and sisters that government job is the best way. Go and steal, embezzle, and call it a day. No.
Thank you. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you so very much, Mr. Anthony Gaye, on fire there, making the case for his candidate. He went in different territory for which he was not invited. I think Focus on Liberia are going to charge you to pay the bill because you started campaigning for your candidate. Well, folks,
no problem. We'll pay the bill. We'll pay the bill.
Folks in cyberspace, this is how we will come to the end of this edition of the Hour of Politics here at Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. The song that closes the broadcast today will always and always be "We Are All Liberians." Because of time, I will not give you my usual closing, that firing closing that you always like. You will not get it today. But remember, Mr. Koijee is a disappointment. President Weah is a disappointment. And our political parties are all disappointment. Our political leaders are all disappointment. You will get to know when that time comes. When you get out of that bubble you're in, then you will know, because they will always let you down. That is why I don't support politicians. I support my country, Liberia. The song is "We Are All Liberians." But guess what? We need a politician, though. Will we get a good one? That is what I'm looking for, and you are not looking for that. Folks, let's leave it there, and let us take this on. We are all Liberians. Bye-bye, folks.
We are